don't need to remind you, but UMass guy gave you guys a game last year. And I know this is coming into Maine, but do you have to take them just as serious, you know?
Rich, we're not in position right now to take anybody lightly. I don't know if anybody thinks that, but our team can't take anybody lightly right now. We got to go play every single game, and we got to get better in multiple phases. So we got to work. This team ain't going to take anybody lightly right now. So I'm not concerned about that at all.
They have a brand new head coach, but quarterback has been there for a while. He's pretty good too. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, he's a good player. He did a nice job leading him all the way back. If you watch that game closely last week, he's played a lot of football. He's got a good arm. He's tough. He took some shots in that game, especially at the end. Led him all the way down, and then they came up short when they missed that long field goal. But I have a ton of respect for him. Coach Stevens, I think, has done a really good job. He was here a little bit this summer, so I got a chance to meet him. I have a lot of respect for him. They've had 2 tough games, and I'm sure they're anxious to get back on the field too.
What kind of injuries are Ozzie and Kevin dealing with, and what's their status for Saturday?
Yeah, I would say Ozzie is day to day. Kevin is probably a little further away than Ozzie right now, and I know that's not ideal for the way our offensive line is right now. But I said this after the game, and I meant it. And just reflecting on it and watch those guys, and those guys are working hard, man. I mean, they are. If you want to rewind, where some of those guys were this spring. I mean, when we hit the spring, Drew Kendall, Christian Mahogany, one of the best guards, maybe in all of college football. Finn had a great spring. Then you have Ozzie, you have Kevin, you have Conley, and those guys. Some of those guys weren't even there, right? And then all of a sudden, Christian goes down, then Ozzie goes down, and then Kevin goes down, right? And Drew misses a lot of camp. So those guys who were coming in, I mean, they're fighting, and whoever it is, we're going to coach up, and the effort they're going to put in. But I got to say that because I know right now it's all O-line this, they're going to go, and they're going to give everything they have. And I respect and I appreciate those guys for fighting. And I don't know if Ozzie's going to play this week. I don't know if Kevin's going to play this week. We just got to work through it, and we got to get better. And, a lot of people have asked me, and I'm sure you guys probably want to ask me, well, why didn't you go to the transfer portal for offensive linemen? And I'm sure a lot of you guys were wondering that. After spring, we felt great, right? And then we found out late Christian gets hurt. So, yeah, we looked at the portal for a lot of reasons, right? Want to add depth, want to always add good players. But it's not always that easy. I mean, when you guys look at the portal at certain positions, and I just want you guys to understand this so no one thinks that, man, your eyes closed, right? It's, 1, can the guy get into school here? 2, does he have enough credits to transfer in and be eligible to play by NCAA rules? 3, is he a character kid, right? Obviously, is he good enough? That's huge. But then the other part with some of these offensive linemen, you guys know what the next piece that comes into it when it's a really good offensive lineman? How much money is he going to get paid, right? So we're doing everything we can, but I believe in the guys we have here. And some of them, are they totally ready? We're going to get them ready, and we're going to fight our butts off. And I'm going to be behind that group every step of the way. So I hope that kind of answers some of the O-line issues right now that we have. But whoever's out there this week, man, we're going to count on them.
Is Nick Thomas the guy that is the next man up?
Yeah, Nick's the next guy up. He has to be. He came in that game. And he's practicing. And, whether or not we put him at tackle, left tackle, right tackle, he's got to be ready to go. Just like the rest of those guys who are backups right now. Suddenly, guys who were 3rd and 4th on the depth chart, they're suddenly either 1 on the depth chart or 2 on the depth chart.
You mentioned that you had success going up tempo. How sustainable is that for longer stretches? Can you do it for most of the game or not really?
It's hard. It depends on how you're playing on defense. Sometimes if you go tempo and you're, quickly 3 and out, then your defense gets worn down. So I think you have to play complementary football. But we have to mix it in. We do. We have to be able to do both.
Coach, these regional games, just for recruiting purposes, does it kind of add an extra element of importance, or can you not think about that right now?
I like regional games.
Yeah.
You asked me that week 1.
Yeah.
I have no problem playing regional games.
Kobe White is on the roster, and I know he was a big part of this program. What exactly happened to Kobe last year, and what's his transition been like, and do you still stay in touch with him?
Yes, I've stayed in touch with Kobe after he transferred the first time to JMU. I helped him out. He called me as soon as he left JMU, tried to help him out again. I love Kobe. Unfortunately, with his knee injury, he felt it was best to transfer somewhere and try to be the guy. But Kobe's a guy that I came in and him and I got close, and he was one of the first guys that I was around, and I have stayed in touch with him. And he played a lot in the first game. He didn't play so much in the second game, and obviously I didn't talk to him this week, so I'm not sure if he's healthy or not again. But there's a guy who did a lot of good things here and then got injured, right? And struggled to come back to become who he was, and that's hard physically and mentally. So I'm a fan of Kobe, I am, and I wish him really well, other than this week. I hope he has an incredible year, and I will always be there for him, and he knows that.
What else sticks out about Maine?
I think offensively their coordinator is very creative. He does a lot of different things, a lot formationally, a lot personnel-wise. He runs just about every run play in the book. He'll spread you out, he'll get you in tight, he'll run the quarterback, he'll take shots downfield. I think it's a well-coached team. Defensively, they're more, they don't do as much, but what they do really well. They're a big quarters team. They'll mix up how they play various formations. They play hard. Maine defense has always played hard. I remember playing Maine when I was at Albany years ago, and those guys, they'll be tough and they'll play hard and they'll be well coached, and they've had a lot of success throughout the years at Maine.
Right now, is it more individual, people need to play better individually or more as a unit or gelling together? Is it kind of individual or group-based right now, do you think, or both?
For our team?
Yeah.
I think it's both. Some guys are just getting a chance to play, so individually they need to get better and they need to play better and they need to be coached up. And then when you insert new guys into a group, they need to mesh, right? But I think it's a combination of both. I think, probably failed to mention this too. If you really look closely, it's probably the best our D-line has played in that last game since we've been here. And I probably, should have mentioned that earlier. And as you clear your head, as things get going, our D-line played hard. And our D-line, rushing the quarterback against the run. Donovan was about as reckless and played as hard as I've seen. And that's really encouraging. So while there are things that are certainly frustrating to all of us and we need to do better, there's also some people and some groups that are playing pretty good football. And if they can continue to get better and better, the future will be bright.
How's Phil recognizing pressure and where it's coming from?
I think the last week was as good as he had. He made a couple hot throws that he hadn't seen in the past. We're getting pressured a lot, Rich.
Yeah.
And I would anticipate that to continue. So seeing it, getting the ball out, and protecting himself, obviously us protecting him. But I hope you noticed that too. He was seeing the pressure and getting it out better. And hopefully he'll continue to do so because it's probably how we're going to get attacked.
Just in terms of getting the running game going, what have you seen and kind of, obviously you can't divulge this week's game plan, but what have you seen that you can kind of do differently?
Well, I think we have to find out what our guys together up front and on the perimeter can do best. Whether it's formationally, whether it's trying to get creative in the run game to create better leverage. And then it's getting them to do what they're supposed to do every single play. Fundamentally sound, but also the ability to execute. To me, the ability to be efficient on first and second down and move the ball forward 2 yards, 3 yards, 2 yards, 3, whatever it is, right? You have to run the football. And that way you're not in third and long all the time. You can't go backward. And that's where we have to get better too. And that's not just obviously playing, that's coaching. So to be efficient on first and second down, to execute at a high level on first and second down, to move it forward and be in third and manageables, that's how you have to play the game at every level. And we know that. And we need to do a better job of that. And they're working at it, man. Like I'm telling you, if you guys could have watched, I wish you could watch the way those old linemen, it's just, is it all perfect right now? It's not. It isn't. It's not. There's mistakes. But the effort and the toughness and they're trying to come together, and credit to all of them, that's what we need to see. And the other thing I'll say about this team is, I came in and had a team meeting on Sunday, and then I met with guys on Monday like I always do. That's a good group. It really is. And you guys know that when you talk to them. They're not pointing fingers. Almost to a man yesterday when I talked to them, it's, Coach, I need to do this better. And Coach, I need to do that better. And there's teams right now that are in rush situations as well, and there's a lot of pointing fingers, and there's a lot of blaming, and there's a lot of coaches throwing players under the bus. There is. And there's a lot of players throwing coaches under the bus or their teammates under the bus. They're not like that. It's not. And that makes me most proud, which is why I love coaching these guys, and it's why I love coaching here, because they're awesome guys, and they're working, and they're sticking together, and they're going to, and we're going to get better.
All right.
Thanks.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Cool.